Is there reincarnation? Many of us are resistant to the idea that one day we will die. At the same time, we want to know what happens when we die. Some of us believe we will go to heaven and live happily there. For others, it seems life is too short and we want another chance to do better next time around. In this case, the idea of reincarnation seems very appealing. We may hope that the people who have committed acts of violence will be brought to justice in the next life and be made to pay for their crimes. Or perhaps we're afraid of nothingness, of oblivion, of not existing anymore. And so, when our body starts to age and disintegrate, it's tempting to think we might have the opportunity to start again in a young and healthy body, like discarding worn-out clothes. The idea of reincarnation suggests there is a separate soul, self, or spirit that somehow leaves the body at death, flies away, and then reincarnates in another body. It's as though the body is some kind of house for the mind, soul, or spirit. This implies that the mind and body can be separated from each other, and that although the body is impermanent, the mind and spirit are somehow permanent. But neither of these ideas is actually in accord with the deepest teachings of Buddhism. We can speak of two kinds of Buddhism: popular Buddhism and deep Buddhism. Different audiences need different kinds of teachings. So the teachings should always be adapted in order to be appropriate to the audience. This is why there are thousands of different points of entry into the teachings, enabling many kinds of people to benefit and experience transformation and relief from their suffering. In popular Buddhist culture, it is said there are countless hell realms that we can fall into after dying. Many temples display vivid illustrations of what can happen to us in the hell realms. For example, if we lie in this lifetime, our tongue will be cut out in the next. This is a kind of skillful means, upaya, to motivate people to live their lives in a more ethical way. This approach may help some, but it may not help others. Although these teachings are not in accord with the ultimate truth, many people benefit from them. Nevertheless, with compassion, skill, and understanding, we may be able to help one another gradually release our current views and deepen our understanding. If we want to open up to new ways of looking at life and death and what happens after death, we need to let go of our present views in order to allow a deeper understanding to emerge. If we want to climb a ladder, we have to let go of one rung in order to reach the next. If we cling to the views we presently hold, we cannot progress. In the beginning, I had certain ideas about mindfulness, meditation, and Buddhism. After 10 years of practice, I had a much better understanding. Then, after 40 or 50 years, my insight and understanding had become even deeper. We are all on a path. We are all making progress. And along the way, we need to be ready to abandon our current view so we can be open to a new, better, and deeper view. One which brings us closer to the truth. One which is more helpful for transforming our suffering and cultivating happiness. Whatever views we hold, we should be careful not to get caught up in thinking that our view is the best and that only we have the truth. The spirit of Buddhism is very tolerant. We should always keep our hearts open to the people who have different views or beliefs. Practicing openness and non-attachment to views is fundamental in Buddhism. That is why, even though there are dozens of different schools of Buddhism, Buddhists have never waged a holy war against each other. So it's easy to have many views here about what happens after death, because it's all up in the air. What happened at birth? Why is consciousness here now? What happens later? Consciousness is the universe. So many views are going to be formed around this. They're all going to be incomplete. I personally have learned to take refuge in the process. Whatever it is that caused this awakening into this life is pretty awesome. I can trust it. Life is pretty cool, with its pleasures and pains all wrapped up. It's still cool. I think sometimes people have the tendency to hate on reality too much because they have a painful reality. They've created a painful situation. They start talking about how everything is inherently painful. No, it's not. It's just not true. Thich Nhat Hanh also talks about that here. No, that's in the heart of Buddha's teaching. He talks about how there are these 3 marks put forth by a lot of traditional Buddhist teaching, but it's not really a good teaching. The last of the 3 does not really stand. It's not really logical. To assert that all things are suffering is a stretch. How much does a table suffer when you dismantle it? How much does the table suffer thinking about its future dismantling? It doesn't suffer in the way a human suffers. Humans make up stories about what's going to happen. And then that causes this whole psychophysical cascade of events, hormones, adrenaline rushing through the body, fear, discomfort, agitation. It's all really physical. Flavoring the mental. Whatever it is, though, one day I woke up and lived life, and there was some suffering and there was some pleasure. But ultimately, there was an unconditioned awesomeness just to existence itself. But it's not even existence. It's beyond existence and non-existence as well. It's beyond real and unreal. Such assertions are easier to make when you've actually seen everything fall apart and the impossible become actual. The rules we all assume to be so solid are not solid. The reality we all rest on is not really there in the way we think it's there. There's something there, but this something is more of a just consciousness. And I'm not going to be able to convey all the reasons why I see things the way I do in this current ramble session, but I hope if you stick around and listen, you'll understand why I think the way I do. I'm not even going to say that I'm the correct one, but it would be nice to know that people are hearing what I'm saying. Hi, kitty. Oh, you're nice? You're a nice kitty? Yeah. You're like Garfield or something.